Hi and welcome to another Checiegirl Creations DIY video. Now today we'll be making this Valentine's Day card, and I'm using craft card that comes from a set of card blanks. They're 5x7 and it comes with the envelopes as well, and the cards come flat, so I just have to score it. And I'll also be using a few different dies. So I'm be using the larger heart from this X-Cut die, and you can get those at Hobbycraft and only at Hobbycraft. It says exclusive to Hobbycraft. I'll be using this With Love sentiment, which is also X-Cut. And again, you can get both of these at Hobbycraft. And then this larger circle die. And this is from M&C Boutique, and you can get these from the Works. And I'll be using some lace as well, and I'll be showing you how to cut out foam with your dies to give your words some dimension, your sentiment some dimension. So first I will cut out the circle, the heart and the sentiment using some 200 GSM cardstock, and the GSM is how thick the cardstock is. Okay, so now I'll be using my DIY misti stamping tool, and I made this from a tutorial on YouTube, and I'll link that. And I'm turning this over so that I can protect my grid. And sometimes the little paper bits that are left over are a bit hard to remove, so I just have to use a pokey tool or an awl, anything that'll get into that small space. Okay. So I'll be using this background stamp from Fleur Botanique, and with a really light pink, because I didn't want to ink the whole thing, but it just looked a bit too stark. Okay. Right. So I'll be using this ink pad, and I'll also be using a white ink pad afterwards because it just gives a much more interesting look to it. And this stamp pad is from Dovecraft. It's premium pigment ink pad, crystal white. I'm just going to make sure that everything has a really nice even coverage. And then it just has a really nice look to it, and because when I went over it, the paper I think shifted slightly. It's got a kind of fuzzy look, but that it just looks really good. You'll probably see it better the photos afterwards. So I was just heat setting the ink quickly, and now I'm going to put the sentiment aside, and I'm going to ink the heart, and I'm going to ink this very slightly on the edge, and I'll be using this light ink pad and this darker one, but I'll be using mostly the light one. Oops. I'll be using these sponges, and this is just from a sponge that was keeping the shape for the pencil case I got for Christmas. And start from the outer edge and go in, and then you just blend in. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm going to prepare this quickly. So I'm just going to put some of the adhesive that I'll be using, not on the circle yet, just the heart. I'm going to put some foam squares. So I'll be using this size little one and these rectangle ones. And the trick with these are you want to make sure that there's even coverage, so when it goes into the post it doesn't get warped or bent or anything, but you also don't want to be able to see it well from the sides. To give the sentiments some dimension, I'm using some foam. So when I was making the cards earlier, I put some double-sided tape on the foam And this is just some white craft foam. I got this from the range. It was £5 for a pack of 50, and it was all different colours. There was 5 of each colour, I believe. And I'm just going to use the dies to cut these out. And you want the sticky to be that when you cut them out, you can then stick the paper onto the foam. So you want the sticky facing you when you're cutting this out. Okay, so now comes the tricky part. This is quite fiddly to stick on the sentiment. So you want to remove the sticky a little bit at a time. And just stick it on slowly. Right, so the camera cut off while I was sticking the sentiments on, but it was basically the same process, just be steady and slow. And there's a few feathery bits from the foam, so I'm going to heat it slightly, but you have to be careful because the foam will shrink. So you want to do it very briefly. That is it. That's all you want to do. You don't want to put on the heat for too long. So now that is adhered, I want to put the lace onto the card, and I'm using my stamping tool to guide me with that. And I've put some marks on when I was making the cards earlier at 6 centimeters because that's where I want my lace to stop. And this is just from the works. I'm not sure how much is in this, it doesn't say, but just for making 3 cards it's taken down quite a lot, so I'm not exactly sure how much was on here. And the 6 centimeters is here, so I'm lining up the bottom with the 6 centimeters. And this is just so that I can keep it as straight as possible. It doesn't have to be really straight, but as straight as possible. And I'm putting some masking tape here so that it can just stay still. And I also de-stickify it on my trousers just to make sure it doesn't damage anything. So make sure your card is straight as well. So now that's still, I'm going to use some tacky glue to stick it on. And you don't want to put too much, you don't want it to squeeze out on the edges because you don't want to show that there's glue behind there. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you make a card like this, please post it on Instagram or send it to me. You can tag me on Instagram because I would love to see it. And I've made quite a few of these and they were really simple, easy to make. So thank you for watching, and please join me again for another arty adventure. Bye!